Hello everybody, welcome back to Its Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay. Today played on the Ganeth Strand map. I am taking the Dark Elves of Ganeth, led by Crone Queen, up against the Empire, led by Boris Todbringer. We'll get into the armies just before we kick off. So we'll go through the infantry first for my opponent. So Spearmen with shields, pretty bargain front line. Basically just designed to hold. Empire, unless you really want to invest, Empire infantry is not great. 2 units of archers, again pretty cheap, but give you some fire support. And I actually have a couple of units that might be effective against. On the flank here, we have a little sort of hit squad of Empire Knights with a Warrior Priest, as well as some Demigryphs Knights with halberds. Obviously, the battle prayers on the Warrior Priest here: Shield of Faith, Soulfire, and the Hammer of Sigmar. He's also taken the Banner of Eternal Flame, which is an interesting pick. So he's giving some fire damage in a little AoE here to his units. So not going to be super effective. It would be, I guess, pretty effective if I'd taken something like a Hydra or something like that with regen, but a cool little off-meta pick, I guess. We've got a unit of Outriders with grenade launchers, great infantry clearers, really good at working down fairly elite infantry, which the Dark Elves can bring, and obviously with their splash damage take out chaff really equally as well. A unit of 2 units of Pistoliers here, so good for just kiting and firing on the run, and another unit of Demigryph Knights on this side. Up in the sky, we have Boris Todbringer, who is leading the force. He has taken the Midland Rudefang Legbiter, which gives a really strong natural regen, as well as the White Cloak of Ulrich. I'm a big fan of Boris. He's a really good sort of debuff bomb, obviously with the White Cloak, stacking with Crush the Weak, stacking with Blood Roar. He can just tank the stats of opposition forces. So, and obviously with the regen, if you're clever with him, he can survive to the late game. And if it gets to a blob fight at the end, he's actually really hard to kill. There is also a light wizard here rocking the Net of Amentok, as well as the Far's Protection, I believe, spell. So just a little sort of just a little bit of map control there with the net. Moving over to my force, on this side of the battle, we have 2 units of Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, front line of a couple of Dread Spears, as well as a couple of units of Ganeth Executioners, and 2 units of Witch Elves, one of which being the Sisters of Singing Doom. So basically just a super elite unit of Witch Elves that causes terror. And have a great unit model. Over here for magic, I went pretty cheap on magic. I basically just took a Sorceress of Fire with the Burning Head, which is obviously great for clearing the front line fight. The Dark Star Cloak as well, just to eke out as much. I had a bit of leftover cash, so just to eke out as much Winds of Magic as possible. And I have a unit of regular Dark Riders with shields, as well as a unit of Cold One Knights and a Master on a steed, and the Guardian Aura, and my girl Crone Queen, who I believe is actually a lot better than, if it weren't for the fact that she was part of the Dark Elves, who have a number of really great legendary lords. I think she's very capable. I usually like to invest in the Master, obviously, because 48 melee defense is pretty average, and 15 armor is basically nothing. She does have some physical resistance of her own. She also has the 15% physical resistance from the Guardian Aura. So I believe the Master here is really important in a little 1-2 punch with him. But I really like playing with Helebron, and to be honest, I like playing sort of fun builds and sort of trying to play with legendary lords who I like when I'm just playing sort of casually. So a little bit of a different list here with her at the helm, but I think this is her most definitely her most competitive loadout. She's got her what's her Death Sword and Curse Blade. The Curse Blade, obviously, item, as well as the Gaze of Cain and the Witch Brew. But this is the best way to take her. She's hot garbage on a Manticore and on a Cauldron, sadly, but giving her the mobility to strike where she wants to on the horse is, I think, is actually quite viable in some situations. So the grenade launcher is getting a good good early round there on the Ganeth Executioners. Probably should be focusing down the Witch Elves. You know, one good volley from a grenade launcher there could really rip into them. Obviously with their lack of armor. So just trying to screen out here. Obviously with my Cold One Knights, they're going to be outpaced by the Pistoliers, but I'm just trying to screen them out, keep them off my front lines. Over here, I've unfortunately been netted with both units of my Dark Riders. So this is a big pickup early for my opponent. He has perhaps overextended just a little bit with his Light Wizard, but getting a great amount of damage here from the Demigryphs and the regular Knights here on the Dark Riders. So I have to pull them back, and unfortunately I just have to throw these Dark Riders in here. It's not a good engagement at all for them, but I have to put them in here just to try and screen out, because my Dark Riders need to do some work with their crossbows. Obviously, the frontline fight's going to go really well for me. You know, Ganeth Executioner is going to absolutely murder Spearmen, and they're going to push into the back ranks fairly quickly. Even here, just the Dread Spears. I don't know what happened to that unit of Spearmen. I think they actually got a Burning Head, which was managed to clear them off. So they're into the back row now. But Boris has made the move down here to try and pick off my Sorceress. Not a bad move at all. Obviously, the Dark Riders here can put a few shots in, but I'm kind of bringing. I do this quite deliberately. I know there's an attack order queued up here, so I'm bringing the Sorceress of Fire back towards the Sisters of Singing Doom to try and bait down an attack and get the Rampage mechanic off. I have the both units of Dark Riders firing shots in here, as well as the anti-large of the Cold One Knights about to come in. So Boris here has probably a few seconds to get out before the Witch Elves manage to rampage him, which... Well, now that the Cold One Knights have got in, it's going to be an even taller order. And look at how much damage is going to go into Boris in this little engagement here. He does regen, obviously, and he has good stats, but he's getting absolutely tanked. Unfortunately, it's cost me my Sorceress. She's going to be escorted off the battlefield by the Warrior Priest. But as we check back here now, and I need to get, obviously, these two guys, Crone and the Master, in to finish off. They're just having a chill there at the moment, unfortunately. But look at Boris just getting absolutely murked here. He's down to 1,000 nearly hit points. Helibron and the Master are going to come in, and they're going to finish him off. So over here, my elite infantry has done pretty well. They've cleared off a few units of Spearmen. These ones are pretty tattered. But I'm just trying to buff out, give a bit of space for the Dark Riders here to pull themselves out and put some fire into the Pistoliers. There is the corpse of Graf Toddbringer himself. He has been taken out by the Crone Queen, and right now I'm just trying to sort of form up again, not get picked apart too much. I've got a unit of Spearmen out here fighting with a unit of Empire Spearmen. I'm happy to let that go. Have some Empire Knights coming back in here, but my unit of Cold Ones are sort of prowling around. Where are they, in fact? They are just doing a bit of cleanup duty here. So the grenade launchers are still online, but the Empire infantry is absolutely in tatters. I've got a unit of Dread Spears coming back here who are going to just force the archers to run away. And the Sisters of Singing Doom, who are a pretty prime target here actually for the archers, have managed to get a lot of value in helping me take out the Toddbringer. So they're gonna make contact here. It's probably not going to take too much to rampage them, but they do manage to get away. Good play by my opponent here, realizing that is not a fight that he wants to take, because it's probably going to be the last fight that any of those units take if they do get rampaged. And now we're just basically forming up. Again, I'm letting him just pull back over here. He can go and take out those Dread Spears. I'm not all that worried about that. I see an opportunity here for Helibron to come in and take out the Light Wizard. So the Helibron Master 1-2 combo is going to absolutely shred this guy. He's going to go down and die. He's gone from full health to basically dead in the space of about 2 or 3 attacks. And you have a really healthy unit of Ganeth Executioners here. My only real mobility left is my Cold One Knights. I'd love to have them over here actually fighting the Demigryphs, but they're just doing what they can at the moment, getting the picks so they can, getting some archers off the field. I'm pretty happy to let the Ganeth Executioners duke it out here with the Demigryphs. The Demigryphs want to be fighting large targets, and with the good stats and the armor piercing of the Ganeth Executioners combined with the rampage on the Sisters of Singing Doom, I've got a really good fight here. So Gaze of Cain goes down, the Warrior Priest is dropping his buff, so there's just a big, basically endgame pit fight going on over here. But I see my opportunity to take out the Warrior Priest, who is now terrified, with my Hellebron Master combo. Some Empire Knights are charging back in, but here come the Cold One Knights. The Demigryphs have taken off. The Empire Knights once again getting rampaged by the Witch Elves, and I actually even get to the point here where I decide, you know what, I don't even need the Cold One Knights to do this. I've got a free pick out here with my archers if I want, or I can start to push off these grenade launchers. I do get a little bit blobbed up there, so that's a nice little hit there from a salvo from the Outriders, but the Cold Ones here smell a bit of blood. They sense their opportunity to basically end the battle here. The grenade launchers do have a few volleys left and could possibly be impactful, but at this stage, not much left to do. I have some tattered remains coming back in, but given that Boris is dead, the Warrior Priest is he's dead, the Light Wizard is dead, all the leadership for the Empire is dead, and the balance of power is just too much for him at this stage, and that will be a win for Ganeth. So some sloppy play on my behalf. Obviously, I used the Sorceress as bait a little bit. I still would have liked to have not lost her, because she still had a fair bit of. She definitely had one more Burning Head left in her, possibly two, with the help of the Darkstar Cloak. But at the end of the day, I think she cost me, with just Burning Head, I think she cost me 700 gold, and she'd already got one off. So, having the Sisters of Singing Doom there, ready to rampage Boris, as the Cold One Knights came back in, and then Hellebron and the Master came back in, was at the end of the day probably worth the trade. It was a very sort of fractured frontline fight as well, so probably wouldn't have been a lot of value in another Burning Head. They might have been able to clear off a unit of archers, but I'll take that trade any day. Toddbringer for a Sorceress, which I haven't spent much on, was a good trade for me. Pretty sloppy in the early game, losing my Dark Riders like that. They did get a few volleys into Boris, and I believe they got a few volleys into a unit, or the unit that were on the flank opposite the Warrior Priest of Demigryphs. But not a lot of value there. That was a good pickup by my opponent. Good use of the net of Amantok, overcasting, getting them both down. And that forced me then to basically throw this unit of Dark Riders away to screen them out. So good bit of value there gained by my opponent. Frontline fighting was never going to go well for the Empire here. Obviously, the Ganeth Executioners had, outside of cycle charging from the Knights, outside of, again, cycle charging from Boris, or, I guess the grenade launchers, they had nothing to fear in the frontline fight. The archers, because that frontline fight went so well for me so quickly, had to basically retreat for most of the game. They could have done a lot of damage to the Sisters of Singing Doom. I think one of the units actually got a volley off on these guys, but they were mostly worked down by the Pistoliers and the grenade launcher Outriders. But these girls did work. They were probably them and the Cold One Knights getting Boris down in that early game. Probably really started to tip the ball in my favour. Hellebron and the Master, like I said at the start of the game, I like Hellebron. I think she takes a bit of babysitting, which is why the Master is pretty crucial, giving the Guardian aura. You've got to be really careful not to overcommit, but she's such a powerhouse if you can get if you can actually get her in a fight where she's got a little bit of support and she can just sit and concentrate on doing damage. She's not a duelist. She's not going to want to go toe-to-toe with most other Legendary Lords, because, as we mentioned, even with the Master there, her melee defense is poor for a Combat Lord, and she has no armor, basically. But she's just a powerhouse if she's left to her own devices. And I think she goes unnoticed sometimes because, she's not riding a dragon, she's not Marathi in the air. In the right situation, she can be very impactful. She can be an absolute assassin. So a fun game. Good to play with a less used legendary lord and get some value out of her. So yeah, always cool to rep a minor faction when you can. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care.